Yeah. Next up in the queue is Matryoshka monarchist. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, and thank you to the speakers. As an Orthodox Christian, my question is for Aleksandr Dugin, a fellow Orthodox Christian and old believer. Old believers historically rejecting the Western ecclesiastical reforms of 1666 as a continuum of the fall of Constantinople. As a traditional Orthodox Christian, Professor Dugin, do you not interpret the West as inspired by St. Hippolytus of Rome and other church fathers as the ecumenical, Kabbalistic, and Hermetic whore of Babylon, at least typologically, gestating after the fall of Constantinople via Gemistos Platon, as gestating as the matricidal Antichrist? If so, how can she repent, becoming the bride once again? The other speakers may also comment on this world historical mystery.
So thank you very much. That is interesting. So the old believers, to whom I belong as well, that is conservative religious tendency movement in the Russian church, in Russian civilization, and it reacted exactly against pseudomorphosis called by Spengler, or against archaeomodernity. So that was reaction against secularization and modernization of Russian church, Orthodox Christian Church, under the influence of the Western Christianity. So that is the main point. So old believers, they are keepers still now of this old Russian identity of the Eastern Christianity. Concerning the West and the Babylon, the whore of Babylon, that was apocalyptic image. That was classical topic from the beginning of the schism, and Christian Orthodox of Byzantium and Eastern Christianity always regarded the Western Church as something like anti-church, as some decadence, not necessarily with a Renaissance, and I think that Platonism of Gemistos Platon and Hermetic tradition and Kabbalistic tradition of the West as a kind of Rosicrucian enlightenment, as Francis Yates has called it. That is rather much more interesting phenomenon than just occultism and just satanic science, because I think that modern materialistic and atheistic science is much worse than these efforts of some scientists and scholars in Europe to conserve something from the sacred understanding of the reality. So I have special attitude to Platonism, to Hermetism, including the Renaissance sacred tendency. So I don't see the direct link with the degeneration of the West. Much more, I see the symbols and signs of this degeneration and desacralization in the modern science. I think that the Babylonian whore is precisely modern, secular, atheistic, and materialistic science, natural science, because they have cut the ties with Aristotelian and Platonic cosmos, and they have lost this sacred dimension. That was desacralization of the reality. And on the other hand, those who followed somehow this hermetic paths wanted to save this sacred understanding of the reality. They still believed in the angels, and the modern Western science mocked at such kind of belief. So I think to believe in the angels and in demons is much more normal and much more traditional than not to. So I think in that sense, my interpretation of the decline of the West is much more in line with Guénon and the Evola, who have seen the main feature of the Western fall not in the some occult tendency, but in the main Satanism of the West is precisely inside of rationality, Cartesianism, modern science, and rationalism, so-called rationalism, and not in the occultist tendencies. They were something counter-revolutionary in them. But that is long and very interesting talk. But I have responded your questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a couple of more